Welcome to another episode of the True Beast Podcast, brought to you by XDog.com, where you can find the world's greatest health enhancement harness for dogs, the XDog Fitness Vest. Exercising your dog has never been easier, more convenient, or effective than with the XDog Fitness Vest. So if you're looking to level up your dog's life or enhance its health, be sure to check out XDog.com. And today we have a very, very special guest. This guy is a charming young fella, man. He's easy on the eyes. The women love him. And we have none other than Jamarcus Best of Leaf Free CEO. Nah, man, we got my boy Stan Smith over here. The other Stan Smith of Iron Sharp Canine. Of course, Trevor of Fit Bully, Mr. T Fit 365. That means 365 days a year. He's fit, right? Like that's the knowledge behind it, right? Oh my God, this dude, man. And today we're going to talk about, man, dog sport versus dog training because, boy, Stan right over here. How you been, man?
Man, I've been good, man. Can't complain. Life's good.
Yeah. That's it? Life's good?
I mean, life's good, figuring it out. Getting the right people around us to help us go to the next level, per se.
Yeah. And we noticed that your TikTok's growing. How's that journey on there?
It's been fun. You post and forget about it, and then you...
Do you actually forget about it?
I mean, shit, I just post.
Yeah.
And then a week later, a video start going crazy. You start getting a lot of comments and likes, and it's like, what the hell? And you go back, 10K and 20, and then, you hit that million.
Where you at right now on that?
99.6.
Let me explain this to people, man. And me and Trevor talk about this all the time.
Yeah.
99,000 organic is completely different than 99,000 paid or 900,000. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a big difference, man. To grow a social media account organically to me, is just tremendously more important.
Yeah. I mean, you can tell because the people interact with you and they like what you're doing, and then they're going to be around for everything. Yeah. And they want to see you succeed. It's weird. Like, people in the United Kingdom, I get messages, hey, bro, keep doing what you're doing. I'm like, what the hell? All right, cool.
Yeah.
Got people in my own backyard that don't want me to make it.
One thing I like about TikTok is that you can actually create content off of responding to like bullshit sometimes. Yeah. Right? Like, do you ever do? You don't ever do that, do you?
No, I don't read no comments.
Yeah.
I don't participate in that. Yeah. But I mean, it works. To be clear, it definitely, like, the key word in social media is social, and that's where I suck. Because I like talking to real people. And not to say these people aren't real. I met Stan on social media. Yeah. I literally saw some stuff he was doing and said, hey, you mind if I come out and shoot a video? So I like when people are doing things that make sense, and I reach out, we connect, and kind of go from there. But I'm not going to spend all day, because when you do get a video that hits, there's not uncommon on some of the bigger videos I've got where you get 1,000 comments. I'm not reading 1,000 comments. I ain't reading 10 comments.
Well, I'll spend about 20, 30 minutes replying to a lot of stuff. People have questions, go back to it, because it builds that organic nature that you were talking about.
Yeah, like the whole thing is with that is I've had, like, for example, I go to some of these seminars, like entrepreneur type seminars, and a lot of the people are like motivational speakers and shit. But, like, you'll have some who have like big social media accounts, and to help with the algorithm, you should respond. They say you should respond at least to the first 10, 15, 20, with 4 or more words. They talk about that, which is exhausting, like, because people don't know how to shut that shit off sometimes, man. And at the same time, though, I've seen people build their shit up, but then eventually, like, for example, I've seen individuals who grew their Instagram account maybe in like the fitness era, right? Or in they never responded to their audience, right? And then all of a sudden the algorithm started taking place, and Instagram got older, and then really where you had to start paying for your ads and shit like that, or you weren't going to get no traction. Like Facebook right now, you're going to get no traction on Facebook. I don't care who you are. You're going to have to pay for them ads, period. And but when you pay for the ads, they fucking reward big time. It's just one of those things. Like, Facebook is one of our biggest traffic channels as far as directly to our sites and stuff like that. So, like, that's why, me and Trevor, we're focusing on product videos and educational videos and stuff like that, because it's weird, man. Like, I don't think anybody's got these algorithms figured out, right?
They're always changing to make your life complicated. That's the other thing. But at the same time, if you do something that helps people, entertains people, they'll come back and look for you.
Yeah.
Man, I want to see what that person's doing today.
We always talk about education, entertain. Education and entertaining.
Two top categories is the how-tos.
What do you focus on when you post a video? What are like the key things that you actually focus on before you post?
I focus on what I would think I needed when I started. So it would be basic tips.
Yeah.
simple stuff, not the super complicated. The basic stuff does way better than the complicated, because most people don't even know what's going on in those complicated videos. But everybody knows, take your dog out to socialize them at Home Depot.
Socialize them.
So what do you feel when you got someone like Trevor who creates his content and calls it solutions, not tips?
I mean, Trevor is one of the most surest people that I've ever met, and he doesn't leave that room for interpretation. Yeah. So he's going to tell you exactly what it is, and I've learned a lot from him, and he's helped me get back into where I needed to be, because I lost
But that's the thing. I told this motherfucker exactly what to do, too. And the minute I said, bro, nobody want to watch you get bit all day. Because he had 14,000
Unless it's in the nuts.
That's one of my big videos.
And then, I said, look, do a little light. And he was, at the time, I know he wasn't super confident, if you would, in speaking on camera.
Yeah. So
I said, well, then do a voiceover, So he started doing the voiceovers. And I literally watched that motherfucker account grow overnight, basically, because he started explaining and, as he said, simplifying and communicating so that people knew what they were watching and why. Yep. That's what that made the difference. That makes a big difference when people know what the fuck is going on.
What was that one moment in life since the day that you met Trevor, from the very first moment, that one single moment? Jamarcus knows what I'm talking about. That one moment that you knew that you wanted that guy to be around you in your circle. The one moment. You can only pick one.
Only one? Well, shit, it was probably the first time I met him. He was like, what the hell y'all doing out here? We're just waiting for this. You're waiting?
Yeah.
What the hell you doing waiting? You ain't got no time to be waiting. You need to be doing blah, 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 blah. And, like,
and I probably didn't know his name well, but that's...
first 10 minutes.
I was like, what the fuck is going on out here? As I tell them, I live at the edge of impact. So wherever I go, I don't want to be forgotten. And Will Smith said it in a video years ago. I want the world to be a better place because I was here. And you look at those stories, and, I study the business and the stories. You go, if everyone I come in contact with, I make a little bit better, then my life gets a little bit better. Yeah. Because you never know who you're going to need either. Yeah. So when I saw him do his little thing, his dog thing at the time. And I'm like, I'm like, what the fuck, man? We got to increase the traffic.
Well, Trevor says this all the time. He never knew dog training existed. Did he say that to you?
Yeah, we've had that talk.
What was your thought on that shit?
I mean, and honestly, I didn't know until I got into it as well.
Yeah.
Everybody knows my first dog got hit by a car because no recall, anything like that. And PetSmart never made sense to me because it was only 7 o'clock on a Tuesday. I was like, we need more. And then once I got into it, I could see why most people don't know about it, because it's like some secret society. Like, you have to be in this club or you have to be in this crew to get all of the proper information, quote unquote.
It's kind of crazy because when we first initially met, I don't know, 3-4 years back, right? It was kind of like training now is completely different as far as how TikTok wasn't around when we met, right? And now all of a sudden TikTok's around and you got people fucking building a life careers. Like, I don't even know who some of these trainers are, and all of a sudden they've got fucking 3 million followers, 2 million followers, 100 million followers. 100,000 followers, and you're like, who the fuck is this person? Never existed. But it was an individual who kind of just was part of a club, decided, hey, let me just do some training videos on my dog, and all of a sudden, like, they started catching traction. Like, oh, I might got something here.
Yep.
And it's kind of fucking crazy, right? Like for example, the Say It Once guy. Never heard of the guy in my entire life. All of a sudden, he's got a fucking cult following, and he's very good. He's got a good gift of gab, and
that's the trick though. But I love that it's forcing people to try and to do things that they never thought they could, or just be silly, be goofy, be entertaining, enjoy the little things in life. I think COVID probably backed some people into a corner and made them take a closer look at all the bullshit they've been putting up with half their life, and TikTok has been an outlet.
It's kind of crazy too. If you notice, man, you got some of these OG trainers, right, who kind of run these clubs or run these programs and stuff like that. They kind of don't know what to do. You get these videos now where it's like kind of like they're hating on the younger generation, and the younger generation is like countering back, and it's a very unique situation, to say the least, because it's kind of like, I don't know, man. I've talked about it before. A lot of dog trainers vicariously live through their dogs. They ask their dogs to eat certain foods while they don't eat certain foods. They ask their dog to be disciplined and exercise daily. They don't fucking exercise daily. You know what I'm saying? And so it's just one of those unique dynamics where I've done a couple of videos like, hey, man, you got to cut some of these younger up-and-coming trainers some slack, because I'd rather have them trying to train a dog and be interested in training a dog than to not be interested in training a dog, because that's the fucking big problem right now. It's like people don't want to train their own dogs. Like, it drives me crazy. I'm not a dog trainer, but I'll see people who are just dog owners. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing, man? Like, you're marking all kinds of bad behavior.
Like, do something with the dog at least.
Well, even my girl, man, like she's not into dog training. She's at my house, and now she'll go back home, like over to her mom's or some shit like that, and their dogs. She's like, I never really realized how to communicate with a dog, or how I was communicating with a dog really affected the relationship between person and dog, and how every dog has, like, your dog has an agreement with you. I meet your dog, we have a completely different agreement. You don't fucking know me. You know what I'm saying? And so it's interesting, like when I went to give you a hug out there, and fucking Rocco was like, fuck you doing, man?
What up? What are you doing? What are we doing? Do you need me, daddy? Yeah. And I think that's one thing that goes overlooked in the dog game, is a relationship that you do have with your dog. Yeah. These dogs will go through hell and hot water for you if they know that you got their back, and basically you give them a reason to. Yeah. And that's one thing that Rocco did for me, is when I was in let's say a dark time in my life, he was that light. He just gave me something to do. I'd go out and play with my dog. If I'm just sitting in the car riding around the city, my right-hand man's with me. Yeah. And there were some places that people didn't want me to bring my dog. And I'm like, that's cool. If my dog can't go, I shouldn't be there. And that kept me out of a lot of situations that I didn't need to necessarily be in. So that bond and that relationship took us to being able to go on Top Dog and having, one of the fastest times on the obstacle course
ever.
And it's just because he wanted to do it for me. Yeah. I mean, he absolutely hates water. He doesn't like a lot of things because I didn't expose him to it when he was younger like I should have, because I didn't fucking know. Yeah. But he did it because I asked him, and that bond and the relationship goes a long way.
How did Top Dog influence you in your brand? Have you leveraged that a lot in your brand?
I mean, probably not as much as I should have, because when I went on there, I didn't have my own brand. Yeah. So I was still over at another facility. Yeah. But it just exposed me to a different world. Like, it basically put me on a platform with people that have been doing it for 20 plus years, and we competed with them. We were in the same conversation as them. And if we would have did a little bit more training in the drug work, we probably would have won our episode. So
yeah, it's kind of crazy because, like, Nick White was one of the, I guess, what do you call it, hosts of, and now he's no longer part of it, but we're potentially working on a collaboration with Off Leash with the XDog vest, but then also K9 Mattis. We're working on something with him. He's got like 4 million plus followers on TikTok as well.
He does some crazy stuff.
Yeah, sometimes you got to do crazy shit, and that's what I think about. Like, when I think about TikTok, it's one of those things where people they start feeling themselves in a way like. A lot of the people who have massive followers are weird as fuck, and some people just follow them because it's just entertaining and weird, but they really feel like people actually listen to them, and so sometimes we were talking about earlier how some people, they misuse their account. Some of them use it in a way to impact people. Some people use it in a way to get their way, you know what I mean, and use it in a negative context. I happened to go down this rabbit hole of this Indian guy, this Native American guy, right, named Moderate Warrior, right, and he was like a big advocate. He had a few million followers, big advocate for, like, which was cool. He was doing his thing. I don't ever have any problems with people like that, and it was kind of crazy. He was like a big, pro women advocate, and the next thing you know, man, he almost seemed like he hated white people, right? Yeah. But then he got caught with like 3 different white girls and having sex with them and shit, and he was married. You know what I'm saying? All his shit got like put out on there. I was like, that's why I said that 360. It comes back around. Man, you can either leverage it in a positive way, you can leverage it in a negative way, I guess. But
I mean, you let it get to your head. If everybody's telling you you're great or you're this, and you're like, you start believing it. Yeah. And in reality, those people online, I mean, they matter to a certain extent, but they don't really know you.
Will Smith said the best thing though. He said, "Don't let success get to your head, and don't let failure get to your heart."
Yeah. Who said that?
Will Smith.
Oh yeah, that's a fucking great saying. Yeah, you got to have that saying in here.
Yeah, you go. Don't let success get to your head, and don't let the failures get to your heart.
Yeah, I learned that the hard way in the streets a long time ago. Like when you don't have money, next thing you know, you have money. I got in the music industry. I started feeling myself, and I got humbled. I got humbled, and so quick. And it was a lesson that I hated, but a lesson that I needed to learn. And now it helps me out a lot. Like I've taken that lesson with me, and so that's why I don't fuck with people like that. Like I treat everybody like the same. Like we train people here. I don't care if they're buying the cheapest product here. They spend $10,000 with us. We treat them the same because we're in an era now, man, where people can just blow up overnight. You never know who. Yep. you could be nice to that one individual who had nothing, right? Or you can burn a bridge with that individual who had nothing, who fucking blew up overnight. So
yep, you never know.
It's just one of those things, man. So let's talk about, a lot of people look at dog training and dog sport the same. Matter of fact, I took you to your first PSA trial this weekend. He's like, what the fuck is this? What's going on here? You know, and a lot of people don't know the difference in, I think like education wise, on especially on social media platforms, they're starting to educate dog owners more the difference. I think dog training relates more to the everyday dog owner than a dog sport, because if I'm a person who has a dog, I'm like, dude, some of that dog sport shit, like, oh, this shit's going to be impossible with my dog. You know what I'm saying? But dog training, there's a lot of good trainers out there who offer like minor tips. Just work on this, you know, like, for example, I always thought that you had to go through the door first before your dog. Yeah. But where it was like more important for you to dictate when the dog gets to go first. And then when you look at dog sport, you look at a dog sport trainer, you're like, now you sacrifice that dog. You send the dog off and you get away, right? Like, that's technically their idea.
Yeah, I mean, and it's going to be different situations. Where do you want your dog to go in first? Because, I mean, if you're going to a jail where there's a riot, I don't want to step through first if my dog's supposed to be doing the work. So they're going to go through first. But if we're going, you know, outside where you don't know if there's going to be other dogs, other people who are afraid of dogs, you got to make sure that the coast is clear. Yeah. Dog training is going to be more lifestyle. Like you said, you got to live with this dog 365 days of the year. Yeah. The dog sports, you might compete 4 times a year, 5 times a year. So are you really going to spend all your time going for that 5 times?
Yeah, I just really want a chill dog as an owner. Like, I just want to be able to have a chill dog in the house who ain't fucking shit up, doing what I ask him to do, you know? And of course, man, like, I'm different. Like, I like to fucking lay on my dogs, have my dogs lay on me and shit like that, where you'll have some people like, no, the dog can't be in the bed, or dog can't be on the couch, you know what I mean? Which I don't mind as long as I'm inviting him up there, you know, and they're not taking up my space when I don't want them there. But then you have some dog trainers, man, like, you know, the dog doesn't come out the crate and it does not eat until it does what it's asked to do.
I mean, and there's room for that in basic dog training as well, because the dog has to understand that there is value. Yeah. And a lot of people devalue themselves by repeating commands to him. They tell the dog to sit and he downs, and they're like, oh, it's okay. It's like, no, that dog is flipping you a bird and you don't even realize it. Yeah. And then they don't understand that when that dog gets out and they're doing something they want to do, you're not valuable to that dog. They're going to ignore you. Yeah. But if you spend a little bit of time working with them, and it's not all positive, it's not just reward. It's letting them know when they're messing up and correcting that behavior.
It's kind of crazy because, you know, I didn't realize this until, you know, I got a lot of trainer friends, and Derek Rose was one of them, where I learned sometimes dogs will do lazy downs, you know, like, so it's like a dog will just, he'll like try and he'll kind of, but he won't go completely relax. I never recognized that. Now I can get him to complete down before I get him no tail wagging, chill, relax. And I can tell the body language is different. But to the average dog owner, they're not going to recognize that half-ass down and how much that devalues them as an owner and a leader of their pack. It's crazy. Yep. You know, even the lazy down where the dog's like got the legs out just a little bit, you know, not that fucking exact.
But it's having a goal that you want and letting them know exactly what's expected. Yeah. Because, I mean, if somebody says down and their dog does a lazy down, they may be ecstatic. Yeah. But if you're trying to do that lazy down at a competition, they're like, shit, 0.
Yeah, there's a big difference right there compared. Yeah, so when a judge sees it, they'll be able to see it. But, yeah, just fucking down. Yeah. Place, chill.
Go chill. And, I mean, I think you can have both of those, but you do got to spend the time showing the dog what's expected. And that place command does come in handy for go chill, leave me alone. Yeah. So you work a lot with Trevor. What would you say he needs, like 2 or 3 things he needs to work on better with his dogs?
You're good. You're good.
I mean, sometimes he repeats, just like everybody. Exposing them to a little bit more, but that's because he doesn't have the time. He has multiple dogs, so they're not all getting that equal. But like Trevor says, he communicates to his dog. When I met him, he had Zara, and we went out to, I think, one of my friend's ranches, and he was like, man, I want to see if this bitch jump on the hay. And it's like, okay. So he jumps up there. He's like, we've been doing this our whole life. And she tried, and she tried. And I think it was like the 3rd or 4th time. He's like, come on, baby, come on. And she was like, okay, daddy. And jumps up there. And he communicates what he wants her to do. Then we started doing bite work. And then he was like, man, I'm gonna create something that can do this. And he came with ego. So once he knows what he's supposed to be doing, he's going to do it. But the information isn't out there, and it's not readily available for just the John Q. Public.
What would you say, like, for example, because sometimes, for example, you're not supposed to repeat a command, but sometimes you say a command and the dog, when do you know, or do you feel that you need to do that extra encouragement? You know what I'm saying? Where you're like, I need this dog to come up, and then you're like, come on. You know what I mean? Cause like, I'll notice like with Triton on the slap mill, right? He'll run. Yeah. But when I fucking give him some encouragement, that ball, that energy, that now he runs harder. You know what I'm saying? So how do you, I guess, analyze that?
I mean, it's going to be situational, of course. So, you can get away with repeating commands. It's not like it's going to be the end of the world, because you got to give the dog the benefit of the doubt. Maybe a fly buzzed by his ear. He didn't hear you clearly. Yeah. But you don't want to get in a habit of going, sit. Yeah. Sit, let it process. Yeah. Like, did he hear you? Is he flipping you a bird? Okay, now he's going to sit. But it's having a time and a place. And when they're on the treadmill, I mean, you'll hear me get Rocco amped up, and it's like, come on, bro, let's go. Yeah. But it's just letting him know that we're cheering him on. It's like Kobe Bryant, when he hears cheers in the stadium, it's not going to make him play any better. It's just, one of those things that feels better.
I learned in the past few years, the less I say and then learn to mark behaviors that I want, my dogs do so much more for me, and I used to be that person, be like, sit, like finally when they sit, and then you can't get them to sit until you give them that hard ass, because you already marked it, right? Yeah. But now, like, even with my new dogs and stuff, like, I'm recorrecting a lot of my old bad habits now, but it's just one of those things where it's like I say so much less and I get so much more. Because I know how to mark. If I'm going to reward, sometimes it's a pet, sometimes it's food, sometimes it's nothing. Yeah, the jolly ball.
So this is my view on it. You speak Spanish?
No, I'm Asian, bro. Thank you, Jamarcus. Well, he's Puerto Rican.
He's Native American.
No, it's kind of crazy because this is hilarious. Like, everywhere we go, so my girl, she's Hispanic and black, right? She's fluent in Spanish, right? Like, speaks Spanish. But everybody comes to me and speaks Spanish to me, right? Like, I'll go up, all the Hispanic people talk to me in Spanish and shit, and I'll just look at her and she'll translate for me, and they're like, what the fuck?
It's not how it was supposed to go.
It's not how it's supposed to go.
Well, let's say you did speak Spanish. Okay. If somebody says something to you, you're going to have to translate it. It's going to take you 1 to 2 seconds, maybe 3 seconds to process it, get an English word before you're going to respond. Yeah. Dogs don't speak any language at all. They bark, they growl, and they howl. So when we're talking to them, we got to give them enough time to process it. Yeah. So I use about 1 to 2 seconds to let them know, and then there's either going to be a no, and then you repeat the command so they understand that they are messing up. But you're going to mark that behavior when they do it.
Well, they talk about it when a pup is born, like everything is nose, eyes, ears to a dog, where we're like eyes, ears, nose. Mm-hmm. And so we think in the process of we have to see it to actually believe it, where a dog they use their nose first. Like that's their first thing. They're blind. They're searching for the nipple. Next thing you know, a few weeks later, their eyes open. And then a few weeks later, they can start hearing, So we think different as humans because we're completely different species. So, sometimes like when I want my dog to let go of something, I don't say nothing. I'll go get some food. And then they sniff. Oh, shit. Let me drop this shit. Okay, I'm going to go after that. So I guess you got to kind of figure out, like I said, every dog's different. And then I think that's what's the big controversy in on social media between trainers and behaviorist trainers to dog sports trainers to just everyday trainers who use, different tools, people who hate the fucking tools and shit like that, right? There's no one way to train a dog, right? And every dog is different. Mm-hmm. Correct?
Batman had a utility belt.
Yeah.
And he didn't use every tool on that belt each time he fought a bad guy. He would use certain tools in certain situations. So every tool has a purpose, every dog has a purpose, and every trainer has a purpose.
Did you watch a new Batman yet?
No.
You got to dude. Take about 3 hours out of your life. Yeah, that shit is like, fuck, bro. You could have cut that off about 6 scenes ago,
I can't. DC always is making mistakes. So I can't get motivated like it'll come out.
I'm just not a Batman fan just because I feel like someone like fucking Spider-Man could just whoop his ass because of his powers, But they make him so fucking tough. But this Batman, I just felt like he was a pussy, man. Like he's so slow and like I don't know, man. Like I didn't really like this Batman.
So he was more realistic.
Yeah, he's more realistic. But then I'm like, dude, someone like Thor would fuck this dude up, like, but they make him like he's this fucking tough motherfucker, man. And I just don't see him as that. It's just weird. You have a favorite comic book character?
I was never really into comics like that.
Who'd you look up to growing up? Like, what got you into dogs? Like, you know what I mean? Like, you have the famous, hey, when I grew up, my cousin had a pit bull, and I paid $100 for it. And then, you know, how many times did we hear that? It was like 10 episodes in a row.
I did not grow up with dogs. My dad was military, so we moved around every year to 2 years, so we couldn't have dogs growing up.
Shit.
The first dog I got, I think I was in like 6th, 7th, maybe 8th grade. My sister brought home this little mutt thing, and we knew so little about dogs, we thought it was a boy.
Ah.
Turned out her name was Bear.
Yeah.
And she lived a good life. But I wasn't raised around dogs. I wasn't exposed to it. I don't have no long history of this trainer teaching me this and this. We just got in the game, and it was fun.
Yeah. Well, speaking about girls thinking that they're boys and boys thinking that they're girls.
Here we go.
What are your thoughts about this transgender swimmer, Leah Thomas, who was just destroying all the girls in the pool?
I mean, it would just kind of be like the equivalent of at a dog show. The professional handlers are going up against the youth handlers.
Yeah,
it's just a different category.
Yeah,
I mean, there's physical things that they're going to be able to do that the other aren't. So, I mean, it's not fair in my opinion. But
well, there always goes that saying, whatever a woman can do, a man can do better, right? Like, and now that Lee is showing that a woman can actually be a man can be a better woman than a woman, right? Like we even like Caitlyn.
I heard something very clear, and there was a woman who broke it down psychologically, and I both respected and appreciated her views because she was a woman. She said, "Hey, this is the thing. You're never going to go through puberty the way that I did. You're never going to bleed the way that I do. You're never going to deal with all the stuff that goes on in my body since the day I was born.
Yeah.
You're never going to, you're going to get a change. I was born this way and I am this way."
Well, here's the fucking thing. Okay, so my son, he competed in wrestling growing up. And people, like when you saw a girl at a young age, like in the youth age of like, 7th, 8th grade, 8th grade and under probably in most cases, you're like, most dads are like, oh, this is a fucking easy win. I is like, oh, fuck, we got hurt because they matured so much faster. And any girl that was in wrestling was a badass motherfucker. And I hated it because on the psychological side, it's a no-win situation for your boy because it's like either I beat a girl or I got my ass beat by a girl. Yeah. And most 9 times out of 10, you got your ass beat by the girl because she was just fucking stud, And then when you get to high school, it kind of changes, like it levels up. Then there was a kid out of North Carolina who was a dude who got into girls wrestling, transition and dominant in like one state, right? And they're like, that's fucked up in a way. You having daughters, right? I having daughter. What do you feel? How do you feel that's going to affect girls' sports and the potential to be able to get a scholarship when they get older?
I mean, they should.
I mean, you're a father. How does that make you feel?
They should start their own league if that's going to be.
No, I feel the same way. Like I think like I'm not against it, right? Like how you identify is how you identify. Do by all means, but you should have your own category. Yeah. You're like I don't want to see no man. Like there was this former Army Ranger got into MMA. It was fucking like breaking girls' jaws and shit. You know what I mean? Just she transitioned and started competing in women's MMA. And this was a former Army Ranger. Fucking
like
chicks
up. Badass dude.
It's crazy, but I mean, imagine a guy in bodybuilding, right? And he transitions and wins Miss Olympia.
Yeah, no, I mean, again, I understand the XY, the XX. I mean, we already been through the foundation of the self and the DNA and MR. I mean, that stuff is you are what you were born to be, and if it wasn't like, well, I don't identify as a her. It's like, then why'd you go get her parts?
Yeah.
That's my thing. So just be what you want to be. I have no quarrel with these people, but at the same time, it's like,
what do you mean by these people?
Same shit Dave Chappelle meant. Those people. Yeah. Them, they, and the rest of them.
I mean, and it's like, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. It's like, yeah, let them do it. Well, then it's messed up for the women that spent their whole life getting to the Olympics.
Whole fucking life, bro. Think about that, Gabby Douglas and those people who've literally trained since 5 years old as women in a women's sport, and then somebody come and switch up, and for a fact, men can jump higher than women.
Yeah.
So imagine the motherfucker hitting it like 6 no's, with no problem. It's just
Well, I think I had seen a post about that South African girl in track, right? Yeah. She couldn't go to Tokyo because she was biologically a woman, but her testosterone levels were higher. She was just a genetic freak. She wasn't on anabolic steroids or anything, but they would not let her compete because her testosterone levels, I guess, were higher than the normal average woman, and it gave her a disadvantage.
Or gave her an advantage.
Yeah, no, yeah, it gave her. It would have been a disadvantage to everybody else. Yeah.
And that's science. Yeah. That's us creating some type of rule and making sure that the sport stays sport, because then it's like, okay, if anybody can fucking go in here and do this, and
let me ask you this, Trevor. Do you ever think anywhere down the road in dog shows that if you're going to be able to identify your stud as a bitch and then compete against other bitches?
No, they're not gonna do.
Why not?
Bro, that's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen. Yeah. That's unfair. It is a proven, and mind you, I breed and I've been around dogs for years. Every boy dog is always bigger. Every fucking gorilla is the motherfucker. The lion is bigger than a lion. I mean, it's just a fact, man.
Well, I mean, they always talk about it when a bitch looks like a male. Like, this bitch looks like a male. That's a compliment. Like, that bitch is bad, right?
Exactly. Exactly. And it is a sick thing when the girl's like, oh shit, I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
I've had a few females that look like fucking dudes.
Yeah.
And people swear that's a boy.
That's one of my go-tos, man, when I always talk to people who have bullies, man. If I want to compliment a person's dog and it's a female, I'll be like, God damn, how old is he? And I'll identify as a male, and the next thing you know, like, no, that's a girl. That's a bitch. Oh, wow. It's like one of those things. Like, it's crazy. But so again, let's go back into dog training versus dog sport. Why did you choose dog training versus competing in dog sports?
Well, I think he does a little bit of both, don't you?
You can. Oh well, yeah. I guess you would say Top Dog is a dog sport, but I'm talking about like Schutzen, PSA, Mondio Ring, French Ring.
I mean, it's not that I wouldn't do those sports. I'm actually working with a guy now who does Mondio, French Ring, and all that stuff. So he's putting us on game in that. But it's just, again, it's that secret society. You got to kiss somebody's ring. You got to.
You think there's a lot of politics in it?
There's a lot of politics in it. Because it has to be a certain way, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's a standard. People. But there is something wrong.
Let's. I mean, we like to keep it real in here. You know what I'm saying? Politics needs to get the fuck out of dog sports, show dogs, and all that other shit. Like, it just needs to get out. Like, a dog, the best dog should fucking win. You shouldn't have to kiss a fucking judge's ass or club member's ass to fucking win. And no one else will say it, I'll say it.
Yeah. I mean, I totally agree with you. And that's one thing that does keep me out of a lot of stuff, because I know that it's going to be a little bit of politics in there, because a lot of people think I don't have the credibility to be doing the stuff that my dogs are doing. So they're going to try to make it seem like they're not as good as they are by going over the top on stuff.
That's why I love social media and how it's able to leverage, because it can take an individual, man, who may have different theories and thoughts of dog training, who may came up under somebody, and now gives them a fucking platform where they would have been afraid before, because you cannot evolve. Like, you have to be able to evolve, man. In order to evolve, you can't have you can only evolve to that individual's mindset. When it takes a collective, like, imagine if I wasn't around him, or around you, or around Jamarcus, and having this bunch of people around me. Like, one of the biggest reasons why the XDog vest has evolved and the products evolved is because I actually go to dog trainers and go, what do you like and what do you dislike about this fucking product? Give me your thoughts, because you have dogs, you're into dogs. What is it that you like and what is it that you dislike? But if I go, no, you have to do it like this because this is my design and this is how I fucking design it, we would never evolve.
Yeah. And I mean, and that's what's wrong with the dog game, because people don't want to evolve. It has to be this way, and if it's not that way, it's wrong.
Yeah.
And it's just that's not right.
Yeah, in especially like in the bully community, like the bull breeds in general, French bullies and stuff, like, it seems like now the market dictates the value. Like, people, for example, the dwarfism gene is one of those genes that was highly regarded, and even though it's not healthy for a fucking dog, the market wants it. And it's like, fuck, man, like,
I mean, look,
like right now, fluffies are fucking big.
Yeah, $100,000 for a puppy that doesn't do anything, just sits there, like, nothing.
It's got long hair though,
but it does nothing. Like, there's no like functional value. You really can't.
You don't think there'll ever be a working fluffy?
I mean,
no.
There may be an anomaly, but it's not going to be a popular thing. And then
I bet you Trevor eventually will come out with one. Give him like 15 years from now. He'll be like, no, I wanted fluffies, but I needed one that would work and live that T-fit lifestyle.
He's going to make a fluffy bully.
I let the people know I'm not fucking with these Frenchies. Yeah. I'm over it, man. I liked what I liked, man.
Yeah.
You got to stay true to course.
You tried it, though. I mean, we got them.
We got them. Yeah. I put them in a division of what we do, and people that they'll manage the Frenchies, and we'll sell them, and we'll work through the dog that we have.
Yeah.
But once that's done, we're done. Like, I like the dogs that I like, and I like dogs that can do it. Complements my lifestyle. I don't care if if they was like, here's $2 million, I don't need the money. I'm just not doing it. My dogs, I need to be motivated in that way to with anything that I got going around, but then the dog doesn't motivate me.
I mean, we're seeing this shit in the Rottweiler community a lot too. They're just shortening the muzzles and breaking up the. Have you seen those?
Oh, they're ugly.
Like rejects.
Yeah, they're ugly. I hate
but
that.
They're fucking in demand. It's crazy. Like blockhead Rottweilers and shit.
Ugly's cool nowadays, I guess, man.
Well, then again, they don't have anywhere, in my opinion, to take the dogs, and the dog go do what it's supposed to do in the first place. So might as well just design them out.
Yeah.
I mean, even the Frenchies, I think you've seen Rolex. We had this little Merle Frenchie that was working. A guy named Jose owned him. And we had him working. He was biting, doing really good.
Oh, yeah. I did see a couple of videos.
And then he came out one day, and he was just tired. I'm like, Jose, what you do to your dog, man? He's like, man, I didn't do nothing. Takes him to the vet. He has a heart murmur. Like 7 months old. Can't never do nothing else with him. He had to get rid of his dog. Paid like $10K for him. And it's just down the drain. And it's like, that's a lot of it happens.
It's part of the game where you always say, unless you're willing to lose 20, don't even get involved.
Yeah. That's not even like, you ain't gonna lose, boy. I mean, but that's any business, though, right?
Yeah.
For those people who call it a business, which is why I'm in, that state of conflict, if you would, even about calling myself a breeder, because I like breeding, but I ain't a breeder because I don't live and die by it.
Yeah.
I create the dogs I want to create and put them places. And I was talking to Chris, Earl the Merle's owner, last day, and I'm one of them people who would literally put dogs wherever. Like, you ain't even got to buy one. I know people that'll take my dogs because I want to watch them grow up and it complements someone's life.
Yeah.
It's not about that bottom line. We do a lot of other great things that afford us, the right, if you would, to go and just enjoy the dogs.
Owning a kennel is expensive. People don't talk about all the everybody shows the fucking highlights. Let's just keep it real. You know what I mean? Like, but even like when you talk about what David did with Blue, that was a lot of expense and travel alone. And you know what I mean? Paying the handler, travel expenses, shit like that, man. Like, man, I wish they would not always show the highlights and really just like I think that would be a good account if some actual breeder who's like really renowned goes, hey, look at all the negative shit. You don't want to get involved in this. It's just one of those things.
I do it all the time. I say, look, before you do anything, the world does not need another dog.
Yeah,
it needs better dogs.
Yeah.
So if you're not trying to create better dogs, then probably shouldn't breed.
Yeah, we went through this thing as a company where like people were getting upset because we work with rescues, but then we also worked with breeders. But a friend of mine named Kirk, he was one of my investors early in my career, good friend of mine right now, one of my mentors. He always he schooled me on you got to have good quality dogs. There's room for great quality dogs. There's just not room for shitty fucking dogs, And you got ethical breeders out there who maybe do one litter a year, and they've got places, like you say, they've got places for them, and they. And then you got unethical breeders. Like, it's kind of getting crazy right now. You'll see on social media, you got these, they even got memes and parody videos. Yeah, I got this new bully, right? And it's fucking all fucked up. And I paid 70 G's for it and shit like that. And it's almost influencing people to want to get in the game more.
Oh, it is. And I get those messages all the time.
Yeah.
Hey, man, I heard the breeding's a good business. I said, I don't know who you was talking to.
I mean, it's the same thing with dog trainers. Like, people think they're just going to hop in the dog. Oh, I'm a dog trainer now. Pay me $7,000 to train your dog. It's like, well, what dog have you done? Have you have any history? Does your dog do what you say that you're going to get my dog to do? You
being a trainer, right, who's not a hater, who's kind of doing your own thing, what would you say if you were an everyday dog owner? What would be like 2 or 3 things you should ask a trainer or look for in a trainer before you send your dog off to him? Because you can send your dog off to a fucked up trainer and fuck up your dog. So what would be like some of the things an individual like myself or like Jamarcus or somebody would go and ask somebody when they're looking for a trainer?
References. Like, what does somebody who actually used that person say, and not somebody that's basically in their club, like somebody who used them for one service or left a review or something like that. If that's what I would look for, because somebody can tell you anything. They're going to say whatever sounds good. I mean, dog trainers are like used car salesmen. They're going to say that they can do this with your dog, get your money, and then blame you because the dog's not doing it. Yeah.
Well, we talked about this before in other episodes, like, also, as an owner, right, like, you have to go do the fucking work that your trainer's asking you to do, right? Like, at the end of the day, like, the dog is going home with you, and you can't just expect a trainer to be the fix-all. Like, they can give you the tools, but at the end of the day, as a dog owner, you got to do the work, right?
Yeah. And you got to make it simple. Dog trainers should make it simple enough for those people to follow along.
Yeah.
And a lot of times they're going to be like, you got to spend 4 hours working with your dog. It's like, who has 4 hours to spend working with the dog? Yeah. But you feed your dog every day. You play with your dog at least once a day. Use those times to train. And it's not about the thousands of reps. It's about getting those quality sets in. It's just like lifting weights.
Yeah.
If you're lifting the weight slow with form, you're going to do better than doing half sets with a lot more weight.
Yeah. That's definitely true.
But it all goes back on the handler, because I can get your dog to do something. That doesn't mean he's going to listen to you, because have you made value for it? Does he know exactly what you're expecting?
Yeah.
And a lot of times they don't, because we're telling the dog to sit 100,000 times, and then on the 1,000th time where you don't even say it, they sit and you reward them. They're just like, I got tired of you talking, so I'm not sitting because you told me to.
Yeah.
But you have to put in the work. There's no replacement. It's not an overnight fix. A lot of people, well, is my dog gonna be perfect when I get back? No, it's not. Like, I've had your dog for 2 weeks, and you've had it for 2 years, and you've done a lot of stuff that I had to undo in those 2 week time frame, and the dog is better.
Yeah.
I can guarantee you that your dog is better, but you got to continue the reps afterwards.
You know, it's kind of crazy. Like, when you talk about the dynamic between your guys' relationship and our relationships and shit like that, like, there's a lot of things that I learned from him, like, and there's a lot of things that you guys learn from each other, right? Like, so what are some things that you think he could work on as far as like building his brand?
Oh, I just do the work. I mean, the logo he's wearing, I FaceTime and say, this is your new logo.
Yeah.
I gave him the work through the business name. I've got people around me that can press buttons and it really makes some things happen. So the other thing that he's working on is building his business plan. He's never had a plan. And he comes out every Friday.
And you know what's crazy about a business plan is that you write the plan, and it's like the plan is literally just a playbook that it's going to teach you what not to fucking do. You know, like I spent months on a business plan, and I'm like, I went next. Oh, this didn't work. This didn't work. This didn't work. This didn't work. Like, it never goes how the plan actually goes. It's just an identifier of what works and what doesn't work.
Yeah, like having a backstop. Know when you are messing up.
Yeah. What's part of your plan?
Starting.
Yeah. Starting the action is everything.
Yeah.
And it's just understanding like the business side of everything, contracts, that kind of stuff, having projections, where you want to go, how to
more importantly
upgrade.
For him too is making sure that the people that want to get involved understand the value that he brings to the table, and that there are what we call a way in which he can hold them accountable.
Yeah.
Because some people think they should get a handout, but they just got their hands out,
In there.
so you're like, they're really not doing any work or driving a result at the end of every day. And so even when he comes out from where he lives and does some work with us, he leaves with a couple training videos, some content with Rocco, and it's all done in less than 30 minutes or so while we're back in the backyard or at the park playing. And then he's also working on business stuff because I believe long term, there's a place for him and some things that we're going to build, but I need to build up his confidence and communication skills and make sure that they're sound so we can create that iron sharp way of life, if you would.
Yeah. So, other things in the news. Your boy, Colin Kaepernick, wants to play football now.
He been wanting to play. What you mean?
Well, he's wanting to play football again. Well,
he had stopped wanting to play. He just ain't got no looks no more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you? How do you feel about it? I mean, the guy came out with a Netflix episode, right? And he basically said that football is the plantation. It's like, I guess, compared it to slavery. Do you think it's a PR thing because now he's coming out with a documentary and he can leverage football?
Well, for one, I just think the man wants to play football. I mean, it just goes down to when you know how, like, if you didn't do right by somebody or that karma come back around, it's like one of those things like, man, I could have done better.
Yeah.
I don't know that he pushed himself and ended on the note he wanted to end. It's kind of like Tom Brady coming back.
Yeah.
It's like he didn't have a below 500 season last year. He didn't leave a loser.
Yeah.
But he didn't leave a winner.
Yeah.
And just a year he won it. So it's like, I still got a little bit more juice. Let's just, like, he got to live with that the rest of his life if he stopped.
Yep.
And thinking like, man, I should have played one more season. And then even about the wins and losses, I think for a guy like him, it's about, I just want to be on the field.
You think he can? He's going to get picked up?
No.
Why?
Potentially. I mean, we've already walked down the road of it being controversial, where it's so high in the controversy side that they didn't give him a chance then.
Yeah.
So why would they give him a chance now? And that's not to say, as I think another, maybe it was Stephen A. Smith or somebody just said, you can't say that Cam Newton's worse than 30 other quarterbacks, or like a guy like Kaepernick can't be a backup for 30 other quarterbacks. He's been there. He had some success in a sense.
Yeah.
But again, he didn't finish. He didn't finish. It got too political. So do I think they're going to bring that back on the field with the drama and stuff? No.
What are your thoughts?
Yeah, too much distraction.
Yeah.
Dame Dash is starting the football league though.
Is he?
Yeah. About 6 teams. They said they're going to do like little tours and stuff. So
really?
he'll probably play there.
So it's like
kind of like
Ice Cube's
thing. Yeah, the big three.
The big three.
There was a good comeback story. What's his name, man? He played for the Mavs, and Mark Cuban. He like got into a lot of drugs. Light skinned dude, man. He was playing for
Delonte West.
Yeah, his story's kind of crazy.
I lived in Cleveland when old boy and everybody was hitting. Old boy hit his mom. Everything. You talk about them Cleveland folks was wilder when that Galante was acting. That I don't know nothing about basketball. I've never turned on no games. But I'm telling you, boy, I was in Cleveland. You heard every piece of drama that was going on with that Joker, boy.
Well,
bipolarism, everything.
He went through a lot, man. Like they found him on the streets doing bad. He was like completely homeless.
Like, but that's funny.
Yeah. But what's kind of crazy is that they cleaned him up. Cuban can't cleaned him up. Now he's going to be playing in that league.
That's good. That's good. I mean, Cuban always, that's what I always appreciate about that particular individual is he tries to do the right thing, and whatever that may look like, and take care of people.
Yeah.
Because at this point, as he says many times, he don't need the money.
Yeah.
It ain't about the money. It's just like Elon and the rest of them. Elon pays a lot of in taxes. How can we better the world? How can we add value to people's lives? And think about Amazon, everything that's taking place, even what you're doing here, and even what I think he can do specifically. We did an episode on our Pit Bully TV, and I talked about reason why I resonate with his style of dog training because it's based in love.
Yeah,
and I've always loved my dogs, and I mean my dogs have been so good in that state of being. They've been able to leave my presence and go and do exactly what I thought they would do in other homes before. Again, I ever even knew a dog trainer existed.
Do you think dog training is going to continue? I mean, you think it's going to evolve? Like, where do you see dog training in 10 years?
I mean, I would hope it evolves.
Like, how though? Like,
I think people are going to just understand that they need to do something with their dog.
Yeah.
Even if it's just giving a mealtime routine.
Yeah.
That does wonders with it. They're going to understand how to socialize. They're going to understand the whys behind it and the safety side behind it.
Mm-hmm.
Again, my dog got hit by a car. That's what got me into dog training. So every time I'm talking to people, they're overusing the recall. No, you want it to have value. Think about that time your dog runs in the street. You don't want to have to say that command 4 times because you may not have that time. So I think it's just going to be more understandable for the everyday dog owner.
What's your thoughts on dog parks?
I hate dog parks.
You'd hate why?
You just don't have control of other people's dogs.
Yeah.
So young puppies, you can have the most confident pup in the whole world, paid $1 million for it, and you go to a dog park, let that dog off, and some doodle comes over there and harasses the dog and breaks the dog's confidence. I mean, you don't have control over other people's dogs, and even if something happens, most of those people don't have control of their dogs. So now you're in a dog fight, you may get bit, and there's just a lot of negative sides to it. But if you go to the outside of a dog park, it's great because there's a lot of distraction and you can work with your dog one-on-one and it's safer.
Yeah, and I don't think a lot of people talk about like parvo and potential diseases and shit that you can bring back, you know what I mean, when it comes to dog parks. You don't know what people are doing with their dogs.
I always tell people, if you want to go have somewhere where your dog can go play, find a playground. Go to elementary school after hours. They got obstacles with the playground. It's a fenced-in yard usually, and you can do that, and you don't have to worry about it. Well, I want my dog to have friends. Why do you want your dog to have friends?
Yeah.
Please tell me why you want your dog to have friends.
Why do you think that's such a big thing? Like, I wanted to get a friend for my dog.
Well, I mean, people were putting their human characteristics on the dog, where it's not that way. Dogs don't care about having friends. Like, they don't, oh, my God, we played last week together. Like, that's not how they interact. I mean, they want to be a part of your pack, and you should be their friend.
Yeah.
I mean, if anything,
that's dog psychology 101, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, all right, before we go, man, we got to cover this topic. DL Hughley versus Yeezy, the beef. Who wins that fight?
There's no beef.
Yeah.
Ye's up. I mean, who arguing?
Supposedly, like DL Hughley and what's his name, Steve Harvey, man, they came from that era beating people's asses, and Yeezy, had sent some I guess somebody ran up on DL Hughley as part of the new Yeezy and ran up on him, and DL Hughley called security. You'll probably have to look it up. And then recently, DL Hughley has gotten the fight. I ain't scared of nobody, but he was pretty pissed because I guess Yeezy gave DL Hughley's address up, and so Yeezy has a pretty big fucking following, you know what I mean? And so
he did that with Drake too.
Yeah.
Yeah, better be ready to get his hands dirty.
Oh, I think the celebrity should have a celebrity boxing league. Let everybody get in the ring what they want to.
I don't know if everybody. Would you think people would get in?
I don't think so because of their egos. I mean,
fucking Eddie
Hall. They gotta live with that too, don't they? Yeah, boy, you got your ass knocked out.
Like Nate Robinson, he ain't never living that down. He won the dunk contest. Nobody remembers that.
Well, Thor and Eddie Hall, the two strongmen, just fought in a boxing match.
How did it go?
Thor won, but it looked pretty. They looked like he had hands. I thought it was gonna be like a sloppy ass fucking brawl, but it was actually a pretty good boxing match. They knocked each other down a couple times, but Thor, end up winning the boxing match. It was pretty cool.
Interesting.
It'd be entertaining for sure, but I don't think they would, just because reputation's ego.
Let's say they got in the ring. DL Hughley, what is he, like 50 something?
Yeah, but he
versus Yeezy.
He come from, I don't know.
Who wins that?
Yeah, he got the devil in him.
Yeah, he's from Chi-Town.
Yeah, well, but I think DL got something to prove. It just depends on like anything, right? It could be any given Sunday. Anything could happen.
Well, here's the thing, man, is that I wasn't talking about DL Hughley until Yeezy had an issue with him or whatever. The issue, like who was talking about him, A
lot of people. I don't know if you've not followed him. He had a show on CNN.
Oh, really? I hate fucking CNN.
Yeah, well, he wrote quite a few books. He addresses a lot of issues. He speaks candidly. He's dyslexic. He lacks the ability to read and understand things. So you listen to where he come from, where he's at, and even what he said initially. And I think somebody else painted the picture. Think about this woman being one of the most powerful women, and she can't get this guy to stop harassing her. So sometimes when you like that woman's talking about these guys won't leave him alone, like this is a guy who will not leave Kim K alone. And bro, you fucked up. Let her go. Leave her alone. Yep. She's moved on. She's happy. She's at peace, and she ain't stopped being positive in a way. And as I said before, I respect her because she didn't come out and talk bad about him. She said even recently, she was like, "Yo, just stop." You don't think the kids up this morning.
You don't think it drives Easy crazy because Pete Davidson supposedly has a hog on him?
I think that Ye's ego. I mean, again, he got in his own way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whatever the man got she was married before. She didn't. We already know she got the sex tape. Whatever the case may be, he fucked up. He got to live with that.
Yeah.
That's the gist of it.
Well, where can they find you at on social media?
I am Stan90 on all platforms. Instagram, TikTok, Stan Smith on Facebook. Not Stan Smith from XDog. And OnSharpK9 on YouTube.
If somebody's looking to acquire your services, what's the best way to reach you?
Either of them. Not TikTok. I don't check TikTok's messages.
Yeah. You might want to do that. I get a lot of fucking messages.
Yeah, I probably need to. But Instagram or my webpage, cell phone number, just hit me up.
Yeah,
I'm not busy. I'll answer.
And if you are busy, what's the second best way?
Shoot me a text. Shoot me a text.
Okay, cool. Well, guys, thank you for tuning in. If you found any golden nuggets out of this episode, man, be sure to share it. Tag us all, man. We like to reshare stuff too, man, and we love supporting people who support us. But as always, thank you for tuning in, and Team XDog strong.